Namaste. Ever heard of ISO? It's not just some fancy acronym, it's a big deal in the world of industries and businesses. ISO stands for the International Organization for Standardization. Think of it as a global club, a very important club. This organization isn't tied to any single country. Instead, it's an independent, non-governmental body with members from all over the world, including India, of course. Their main mission? To develop and publish international standards. Now, what exactly are international standards? Well, imagine ISO as a global recipe book for industries. These standards are like detailed recipes, ensuring everyone follows a consistent process, whether it's about quality, safety, or efficiency. For example, think about packaged drinking water. No matter where you buy it, you expect it to be safe and clean, right? ISO standards help ensure that happens by setting guidelines for how that water is processed and packaged, no matter which company makes it or where it's sold. Why should Indian businesses, students, and professionals care about ISO certification? Simple. It's about trust, efficiency, and opportunity. For businesses, an ISO certification acts like a stamp of approval. Customers, especially those abroad, are much more likely to trust a company that meets international standards. Think of it like this. An ISO-certified textile company in Surat can export to European markets without much hassle because the certification shows they meet European quality and environmental standards. No need for lengthy, repeated inspections. It also streamlines processes. By implementing ISO standards, companies become more efficient, reduce waste, and improve their overall performance. This leads to cost savings and increased profitability. And for students and professionals, knowing about ISO gives you an edge. Many companies actively seek employees with knowledge of ISO standards. It shows you understand quality, efficiency, and international best practices, skills that are valuable in any industry, from manufacturing to IT. All right, let's dive into ISO 9001-2015, the Quality Management System. At its heart, it's all about consistently providing products and services that not only meet customer needs, but also comply with relevant regulations. Think of it as a framework to ensure customer satisfaction and continuous improvement. How does it work? Well, ISO 9001 helps organizations establish processes for everything from design and development to production, delivery, and customer service. Let's take Maruti Suzuki as an example. Imagine their factory implementing ISO 9001. They'd have documented procedures for each stage of car manufacturing, from sourcing raw materials to final inspection. This ensures that every car rolling off the assembly line meets a specific quality benchmark. Think of it like setting a gold standard for each vehicle. This translates to fewer defects, happier customers, and ultimately a stronger brand reputation for Maruti Suzuki. It's all about building trust through consistent quality. All right, let's talk about ISO 14001-2015, the Environmental Management System. This isn't just about feeling good about being green. It's about systematically minimizing your company's impact on the environment. Think of it as a structured approach to eco-friendliness. So, how does it work? Basically, ISO 14001 helps organizations identify, manage, monitor, and control their environmental issues. This includes everything from air and water pollution to waste management and even reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Let's take an example. Imagine an IT company in Bangalore. They decide to implement ISO 14001. What might they do? First, they conduct a thorough assessment to identify their environmental impact. They might find that their biggest issues are e-waste from old computers and a high carbon footprint from energy consumption. Now, with ISO 14001, they put in place a system to tackle these problems. They could start a comprehensive e-waste recycling program, partnering with certified recyclers to ensure responsible disposal. To cut down on their carbon footprint, they could invest in energy-efficient servers, switch to renewable energy sources, or implement energy conservation programs, like encouraging employees to switch off computers and lights when not in use. They would continue to track and improve. Now, let's talk about ISO 45001-2018, focusing on occupational health and safety. This standard is all about creating a safe and healthy working environment for everyone. Think about it. Factories, construction sites, even offices. Any workplace can have potential hazards. ISO 45001 helps organizations identify these risks and put controls in place to prevent accidents and illnesses. For example, imagine a construction company implementing ISO 45001. They might start by conducting a thorough risk assessment to identify potential dangers like falls from heights, electrocution hazards, or exposure to harmful materials. Next, they would put in place safety protocols. This could mean providing workers with proper safety equipment, like helmets and harnesses, implementing regular safety training programs, and establishing clear procedures for handling hazardous materials. They could implement daily checklists and use of PPE. The goal is to reduce workplace accidents and illnesses, improve worker morale, and create a culture of safety. ISO 45001 helps organizations to continually improve their OH&S performance, leading to a safer and healthier workplace for everyone. So, by implementing safety protocols on site, a construction company could significantly reduce worker injuries and save lives, all thanks to ISO 45001. Let's talk about ISO 22000-2018, the Food Safety Management System. Think of it like a complete safety net for our food, from farm to fork. It ensures that food businesses identify and control food safety hazards. Imagine Haldirams, a popular Indian snack company, wants to implement ISO 22000. They would first analyze every step of their production, sourcing ingredients, manufacturing, packaging, and distribution. Then they identify potential hazards like contamination from bacteria, E. coli, salmonella, foreign objects, metal shavings, or allergens. Based on this, they put controls in place. This could include stricter hygiene practices for workers, metal detectors on the production line, and clear allergen labeling on packaging. The ISO 22000 standard provides a framework to systematically manage these risks. Regular audits and checks verify that these controls are working effectively, preventing unsafe food from reaching your plate. It is about providing safe and secure food to every consumer. Now, let's tackle some common misconceptions about ISO certification. A big myth is that ISO is mandatory. It's generally not. It's a voluntary decision by a company to improve. Another one, thinking ISO guarantees quality. ISO provides a framework for quality management. Think of it like having a recipe. You still need good ingredients and skilled chefs to make a great dish. The standard itself is not a guarantee. Many believe ISO is just about paperwork. Documentation is important, yes, but implementation and consistent application are what truly matter. It is not just the documentation. Here's another, seeing ISO as a one-time thing. Certification requires regular surveillance audits. It's continuous improvement, not a get certified and forget situation. Finally, beware of fake or non-accredited certifications. Always verify the certification body's accreditation. A certificate from a non-reputable source is basically worthless, like buying a fake degree. It may look good on paper, but has no actual weight. Let's briefly touch upon ISO 27001, the Information Security Management System. In today's digital age, protecting sensitive data is crucial. ISO 27001 helps organizations manage and protect information assets, similar to how a bank safeguards your money. Imagine an Indian IT company handling sensitive client data. Implementing ISO 27001 ensures they have robust security measures in place, such as firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and data encryption. Think of data encryption as a lock for your digital information. Only authorized individuals with the correct key can access it. So if you have a 128-bit key, then the total combinations to guess the key is 2 to the power of 128 different combinations. This safeguards against cyber threats and data breaches. Selecting the right standard is very important, but correct implementation is even more so. Remember, the goal isn't just about the certificate. It's about creating a system for continuous improvement. Choose the standard that fits your business needs and focus on the processes, not just the paperwork. The real value lies in how you use ISO to enhance your operations and deliver better results. So take your time, do your research, and make ISO work for you. Okay, so you've decided to go for ISO certification. Great! The first step in this journey is gap analysis. Think of it like this. If you want to run a marathon, you first need to assess your current fitness level, right? Can you run 1K, 5K, or do you need to start with just walking? Gap analysis is similar. It helps you understand where your organization currently stands against the requirements of the ISO standard you've chosen. Basically, you're identifying what gaps between what you're already doing and what the ISO standard requires. This involves a thorough review of your existing processes, documentation, and practices. For example, if ISO 9001 requires documented procedures for handling customer complaints, gap analysis will reveal whether those procedures exist and how effective they are. Next up, documentation. Once you know where the gaps are, you need a roadmap to close them. This is where documentation comes in. It's all about creating the standard operating procedures, or SOPs, that your organization will follow. Good documentation is key and needs to be clear, concise, and easy to understand. Think of it as creating a user manual for your business processes. It ensures everyone is on the same page, following the same methods, and working towards the same goals. Consistent documentation can boost efficiency. All right, let's move on to implementation and internal audits. Implementation. This is where your documented plans come to life. Think of it like this. You've written a fantastic recipe, your documentation. Now it's time to actually cook the dish. It's about ensuring everyone in your organization understands and follows the processes you've carefully documented. For example, if your ISO 9001 documentation says that every product needs to be inspected at 3 stages, then your team needs to actually inspect every product at those 3 stages. No cutting corners. Next, we have the internal audit. This is basically a self-check. Imagine you've cooked the dish. Now you taste it to see if it matches the recipe and tastes good. An internal audit verifies if your implemented plan is actually working. Are your processes being followed? Are they effective? Internal audits should be conducted by trained personnel, ideally independent of the area being audited, to provide an unbiased assessment. Think of it as a friendly but honest review to catch any gaps before the real ISO auditor arrives. Are the right forms completed? Are the quality checks up to par? It's about spotting the problems early and correcting them. Okay, so after the internal audit, what's next in getting ISO certified? 2 very important steps: the management review and the Stage 1 audit. Let's break them down simply. First, the management review. Think of it like this. The senior managers of your company, they all sit together. They review everything about the ISO system you've put in place. Is it actually working? Are we meeting our goals? Are there any problems? This isn't just about paperwork. It's about truly assessing the effectiveness of the system. Based on this review, they decide what changes are needed. Maybe some processes need tweaking, or more resources need to be allocated. It's all about continuous improvement. Next up, the Stage 1 audit. This is the first visit from the external certification body. It's a preliminary review. They won't deep dive into everything just yet. Instead, they'll mainly check your documentation. Do you have all the required documents? Does your documentation meet the requirements of the specific ISO standard? Are you ready for the main Stage 2 audit? They're looking for any big red flags, any major gaps that need to be addressed before moving forward. Think of Stage 1 as a readiness check. Okay, friends, next up, Stage 2 audit. Think of this as the final exam after all your prep. Auditors really dig into your processes, checking if you're actually doing what you documented and whether it's effective. They'll interview staff, observe operations, and examine records. Now, if Stage 2 goes well, you move to the certification decision. The certification body reviews the audit report and decides whether to grant certification. This isn't automatic. They look for solid evidence that your management system meets the ISO standard. Finally, even after getting certified, it's not set it and forget it. Surveillance audits happen regularly, usually every 6 or 12 months. These audits ensure you're maintaining your system and continuously improving. Think of it like regular checkups with your doctor. They make sure you're staying healthy. So, ISO is about ongoing commitment, not just a one-time achievement. Okay, so you've decided to get ISO certified. That's great. But how do you know if the certification body, or CB, you're choosing is legit? That's where accreditation comes in. Think of it like this. You want to get your college degree recognized. The college needs to be accredited by a larger, respected organization to prove it meets certain educational standards, right? Same concept here. Accreditation is basically a formal recognition by an independent body, an accreditation body, that a certification body is competent to carry out specific certification activities. It adds a layer of trust and credibility to the whole process. In India, the National Accreditation Board for Certification Bodies, or NAVCOB, is the main accreditation body. Internationally, there's the International Accreditation Forum, or IAF. NAVCOB is a member of IAF, which ensures global recognition of certifications issued by NAVCOB-accredited CBs. Why is this important? Well, if a CB is accredited by NAVCOB or other reputable IAF member, it means they've been thoroughly vetted. They follow international standards, their auditors are qualified, and their processes are transparent. This reduces the risk of getting a paper certificate that isn't worth much. Always choose a CB based on their accreditation and reputation, not just on who offers the lowest price. A credible certification builds trust and actually improves your business, which is the whole point. Choosing the right certification body, or CB, is super important. Think of it like choosing a doctor. You want someone you can trust, right? Accreditation matters. It's like a stamp of approval for the CB, ensuring they follow international standards themselves. Look for CBs accredited by bodies like NABI-CB in India, or those recognized by the International Accreditation Forum, the IAF. There are many CBs operating in India, like BSI, TUV, and DNV. You've probably seen their logos around. But don't just pick one because it's cheap. A credible CB will have experienced auditors who really understand your industry. Think of it this way. A thorough audit might cost a bit more upfront, but it can save you big time later by catching potential problems early. You want a CB that's going to help you improve, not just give you a certificate. So do your research, check their credentials, and choose a CB known for its integrity and expertise. Don't risk getting a certificate that isn't worth the paper it's printed on. Let's bust a common myth right away. ISO certification is not mandatory for all businesses in India. You won't find a law saying every company must have it. So why do so many companies go for it? Well, often it's customer-driven. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a supplier. A big client, maybe a multinational corporation, might say, "We only work with ISO 9001 certified suppliers." Suddenly, ISO becomes a de facto requirement to win that business. Or it could be a market requirement. To sell certain products in specific sectors like food or automotive, ISO certifications like ISO 22000 or IATF 16949 might be essential to demonstrate safety and quality. It's about meeting industry expectations and proving you're serious about best practices. So, while not a legal mandate, ISO certification is frequently a strategic imperative for market access and customer trust. It's more of a pull from the market rather than a push from the government. Let's tackle a common misconception. ISO certification guarantees quality. This is simply not true. Think of ISO as setting the rules of the game, not guaranteeing a win every time. ISO certification ensures that your company consistently follows its processes. If those processes are well designed, you're more likely to produce high-quality products or services. But if your processes are flawed, ISO will only ensure you consistently produce flawed outcomes. Imagine a bakery. ISO 9001 can ensure they always use the same recipe and baking time for their bread. But if that recipe is bad or the oven temperature is wrong, every loaf will be consistently terrible, despite being ISO certified. Think of it like this. ISO certification ensures process consistency, not necessarily product perfection. It reduces variability and provides a framework for continuous improvement, but it doesn't eliminate the possibility of mistakes or guarantee flawlessness. You still need skilled staff, good ingredients, and a commitment to quality beyond just following procedures. It's a tool, not a magic wand. Let's bust another myth. ISO is only about documentation. Many people think getting ISO certified just means creating a mountain of paperwork that no one ever looks at. That's simply not true. Think of it like this. Documentation is like the recipe for a delicious dish. You can have the most detailed recipe, but if you don't actually cook the dish, if you don't buy the ingredients, follow the instructions, and taste test along the way, you'll never get that delicious result. ISO is the same. Yes, documentation is a part of it. You need to write down your processes and procedures, but the real value of ISO comes from implementing those processes and maintaining them effectively. It's about making those processes part of your daily operations. It's about creating a system, a management system, that helps you consistently improve. The documentation just supports the system. If you have a beautifully documented system that no one actually uses, then the certification becomes meaningless. You might as well have a recipe you never cook. It's the action that counts. Now, let's bust another myth. ISO certification being a one-time affair. Think of it like this. Getting ISO certified isn't like passing an exam once and forgetting about it. It's more like joining a gym. You can't just go once and expect to stay fit forever, right? ISO requires continuous improvement. Your systems need to be regularly monitored, maintained, and improved. That's where surveillance audits come in. These are regular checkups by the certification body to ensure you're still following the standard and making progress. Consider a garment export company. They initially get ISO 9001 certified, improving their quality control. But if they stop following the documented procedures, start using substandard materials to cut costs, their product quality deteriorates and they will fail the surveillance audits. They risk losing their certification and, more importantly, their customer trust. The process will lead to the team implementing solutions and improving internal processes for the better. So remember, ISO is a journey, not a destination. Now, let's talk about a critical mistake. Fake or non-accredited certificates. Imagine investing time and money only to find your certificate is worthless. It's like using a duplicate key that doesn't open the door. These certificates lack credibility because they're not issued by recognized bodies. This can lead to serious problems. First, your customers might not trust you, impacting your business. Second, you could face legal issues if you claim accreditation you don't have. Think of it this way. If you are selling organic food, but your organic certificate is fake, you could get into big trouble with food safety authorities. Accreditation by bodies like NABCB in India ensures that certification bodies follow international standards. This gives the certificates they issue real value. Always check the accreditation status of a certification body before you engage with them. It's an investment in your company's reputation and future. Think of ISO certification not just as a certificate to frame, but as a powerful tool. It's like a spanner in a mechanic's kit, useless if it just sits there, but incredibly valuable when used to tighten bolts and fine-tune an engine. ISO's real value lies in continuous improvement. It pushes your organization to constantly assess, adapt, and refine processes. It's about creating a cycle of plan, do, check, act, or PDCA. Plan what you want to achieve, do it, check the results, and then act to improve based on what you learned. This isn't a one-time thing. ISO encourages a culture of never settling for good enough. It's about always striving for better efficiency, better quality, better safety, and a smaller environmental footprint. Remember, the goal isn't the certificate itself, but the positive changes ISO brings to your operations, benefiting your customers, employees, and ultimately your bottom line. Embrace ISO for its potential to build a stronger, more resilient, and continuously improving organization. All right, so you're thinking about ISO certification. Smart move. But here's a critical point. Picking the right ISO standard. It's like choosing the right tool for a job. A hammer won't help you screw in a bolt, right? Same with ISO. ISO 9001, for example, is fantastic for improving your overall quality management across all departments. But if your main concern is reducing your environmental impact, ISO 14001 is the better fit. Imagine a garment exporter wanting to showcase ethical practices. If they aim to get food safety management systems such as ISO 22000, it will be a major misstep. Choosing the wrong standard wastes time, money, and effort. It's like investing in the wrong course for your career goals. It's important to conduct a gap analysis, understand your organizational needs, and then select a standard that aligns with your specific goals and industry. Don't just jump on the bandwagon. Choose wisely. Correct implementation matters more than certification. Think of ISO as a journey, not just a destination. You see, a certificate is just a piece of paper. It shows you can meet the standard. But doing the standard, living it every day, that's where the real value lies. Imagine this. A company gets ISO 9001. They create all the documents, pass the audits. But on the ground, employees don't follow the procedures. The documentation becomes just a shelf item, collecting dust. Customer complaints keep rising. That ISO 9001 certificate isn't helping them much, is it? Real improvement comes from embracing the ISO principles, making them part of your company culture. Regular internal audits, management reviews that actually lead to action, and a commitment to continuous improvement. That's where the magic happens. It's not about impressing auditors. It's about impressing your customers with consistent quality and service. So let's quickly recap why ISO certification can be a game changer, especially for you, the Indian students, business owners, and professionals. First, it boosts credibility. Think of it like this. ISO is a globally recognized stamp of approval. Second, efficiency. ISO standards streamline your processes. Less wastage, more output. It's like optimizing your cricket swing for maximum runs. Third, global market access. Want to export your amazing products or services? ISO can be your passport to international markets. It shows you play by global rules. Fourth, improved safety. Whether it's worker safety with ISO 45001 or food safety with ISO 22000, you're creating a safer environment for everyone. And finally, environmental responsibility. ISO 14001 helps you minimize your environmental footprint. It's about making a positive impact. Remember, choosing the right standard and implementing it correctly is more crucial than just getting the certificate. See ISO as a journey, not just a destination. It's a path to continuous improvement and lasting success. All the best!